One of the biggest problems with the mainstream media across all different industries is that they are so reliant on access. They need to get the exclusive interview. They need to talk to this person, need to talk to that person, need to stay in this person's good graces in order to keep that access. And what happens is that they're not genuine. They don't tell the truth. They don't give you their actual opinion. They just say whatever they think will make them keep that access. It happens in politics, it happens in entertainment, and it certainly happens in sports. That's one of the biggest problems. And that's something that'll never happen here on this channel. You know, we're always going to say exactly how we feel. But the other day, former NFL player Richard Sherman, who even though for a couple-year period was regarded as one of the best cornerbacks in the league, historic type of numbers, those things, you know, the reality is when you look back at that, when you realize that he didn't really follow the best receiver, he stayed on one side of the field, had a lot of safety help over top as well. You know, a lot of people look back at that time and think maybe Richard Sherman a little bit overrated, especially when you consider going back when he switched teams. He just was not nearly as effective as people initially thought he was in that Seattle system over that couple-year period. But since he's got out of the NFL, since he's become a commentator, he's continued to just let his ego inflate. And when he went on someone else's talk show, he tried to put them down. He tried to embarrass this person, and the host wasn't having it. Former NFL star Richard Sherman demands radio host excuse himself from his own show in Cringe Back and Forth. And we're going to listen to this thing, and this is the status quo right now for the media. If you say something, if you give an opinion about a player that doesn't align with how that player feels about themselves, they're going to try to blacklist you. They're going to try to shut you out. They're going to try to cut off your access. That's how sad and pathetic a lot of these professional athletes are. But let's listen here to Richard Sherman. Here's some of the background. Sherman, who played for 7 seasons with the Seattle Seahawks, joined Seattle Sports' 7:10 a.m. morning show, Brock and Salk, hosted by Brock Hard and Mike Salk, on Wednesday for a segment with former teammate and current Seahawk KJ Wright. I can't say I listened to Seattle Talk Radio. No idea who these guys were before this moment, but you can hear this interaction for yourself and realize why it's so cringe.
It's Richard Sherman with us here on Seattle Sports on 710. When you went elsewhere, first to San Francisco and then Tampa, what did it teach you, or what did you learn about the differences between those places and what you had seen here in Seattle?
Well, first off, I remember when I exited here, and I remember some words from you, that were a lot different than I had heard when I was here. So you know what I mean? It's a little different. I'm gonna answer the questions from Brock and KJ, but we're gonna excuse you out of this.
Imagine that's the first thing you say basically in this interview. Like the first question you really get asked by this guy, that's what you decide to do. You decide to make it all about you. You're coming on this person's show and you try to publicly embarrass them. And, you know, some people may have taken that. Some people may have tried to laugh it off. This guy did not.
Well, so first of all, that's just not true. I mean, like the words you heard from me were actually pretty similar to what you had heard while you were here. You just maybe didn't hear them.
Yeah, because I don't listen to your show. But again,
that's fine. I'm not asking you to listen, but the words didn't change. I didn't say anything different when you left from when you were here.
You're excused.
And I love how Richard Sherman's fallback is like, well, you know, I actually don't listen to you, so I have no way to know whether what you said was actually what you said before or not. Richard Sherman, his second sentence is admitting that he's an absolute fucking idiot, which is not a surprise. Pretty standard for a lot of NFL players, specifically Richard Sherman, but let's back it up and we'll continue to let him speak.
Say anything different when you left from when you were here?
You're excused from the interview.
All right.
Well, sorry.
Doesn't really work that way, Sherman. This is, you know, a show that has my name on it.
It kind of does. It kind of does, though.
No, not really how this works, man.
But, Sherman, for your dog. When
That's the only reason I'm here, because of KJ.
Well, like, I appreciate that, but
the man thinks he can. Like,
if you've got an issue, you can feel free to talk about it.
KJ, not because of you.
Well, so I understand that. If you've got an issue, I'm happy to talk through those with you, man. If you've got a problem, something you want to talk about.
So that's the clip right there. And definitely a cringe exchange from Richard Sherman to go on this thing with the sole intention to try to do that and try to fucking embarrass this dude on his own show. And then when confronted with, okay, we can talk about it if you want. Oh, what did I say that wasn't the same thing that I said? What's your actual fucking problem? Richard Sherman has no answer. Because Richard Sherman is one of these people, one of these former professional athletes, one of these guys who cannot handle the slightest bit of criticism. If you say something that goes contrary to how he feels about himself, you're just the enemy. And what a lot of these mainstream sports guys are afraid to do, they're afraid that that's the reaction they might get from a professional athlete. They're afraid to actually speak their mind. They're afraid to criticize these guys in fear that they might lose access, that they might not be able to get the Richard Sherman interview. Quite frankly, it's sad and pathetic. And, kudos to this dude for fucking not just taking that on the chin, for actually pushing back and making Richard Sherman look like the complete moron that he is. Let me know your thoughts about all this in the comments section below. Smash the like button, subscribe to the channel, ring the bell for notifications, share this video out there, and I'll talk to you later.